So, Holmes, what are we doing?
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and welcome to the National Gallery of Painting. As it's such a lovely day outside, you're the only visitors at the moment, and likely will be for the whole day, as the minimum number of people for a guided tour is...
We're not here to visit the museum, young man. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson.
Sherlock Holmes, the famous detective?
Indeed, I have reason to believe that a theft is being planned that will take place here, perhaps as early as today.
A robbery?
I'm not certain, but there is a good reason to believe that is the case. We have contacted Inspector Lestrade at Scotland Yard, and he should be joining us momentarily. Meanwhile, rest assured that we are here in an official capacity. In the meantime, you can certainly help us. One of the paintings will play a part in the matter, but I don't yet know exactly which one. I do, however, have a few clues that should tell something to a specialist like yourself.
Ah, yes, of course. As it happens, I've only been working here for 3 days. Actually, I'm an apprentice, and my duties here are essentially administrative.
Pray tell, would I be correct in deducing that the elder of the two men that we can see up there is the director of the museum?
Yes, that is Sir Pointer. He could certainly assist you better than I, but at the moment he's terribly occupied and will be for some time.
But the location that you are proposing is unworthy of my work. All of my pieces are hymns to color and light. It's the very stars, the sun that you want to extinguish.
Please understand, dear sir, the entrance hall is reserved for temporary exhibitions. We are able to add more lighting.
In that case, you would have to provide lanterns across the whole length of the ceiling, and to use the most refined oil possible. Definitely not gas. And mirrors to reflect the light, along with some canvases in basic colors to bring out the contrasts.
We will do all that we possibly can.
Nevertheless, I insist that a number of my works must be on the main floor next to the large pieces.
But our rooms are already full and, as you know, each has its specific subject. Too much modernism?
How can there be too much modernism? Modernism doesn't exist. Only art exists. Art is timeless. Art is cosmic.
Well, sir, perhaps we should continue this conversation in my office.
Then you must certainly have a ledger of the works that are shown in the museum, with a description of each painting.
Yes, Sir Pointer entrusted it to my care this morning so I could familiarize myself with the collection, but I lost it. I know I make a rather feeble archivist, but while I was doing a tour of the museum, the painting that Mr. Pointer is now dealing with arrived, along with cases full of canvases that he had to quickly inventory.
The case of the missing ledger. What do you make of it, Watson? Listen, Mr.
Palinor, sir.
Palinor, my friend and I will make our way through the museum in order to find the ledger. If you lost it while touring the museum and it wasn't back on the desk, then it must be in one of the galleries. Stay here and we will return to see you when we have found it, and not a word of it to the director.
Certainly, sir. With many thanks. I will continue to do my inventory and await you.
Tell me, young man, would you happen to have a blueprint of the building in order to facilitate the task at hand?
Ah, yes. Where did I put it? Oh, yes, here it is.
Farewell, Palinor. it seems that we've found the famous ledger. It's written in shorthand, and there are hundreds of entries. Let's bring it to the archivist.
Yes, Mr. Holmes?
Farewell, Palinor.
Yes, Mr. Holmes?
Here is your ledger, my friend.
You found it! Many thanks. You won't say anything to Sir Pointer?
Rest assured, are you familiar with how the entries are written? Everything seems to be abbreviated.
I understand how to locate a thematic group and how to read a description, but I am struggling with the location codes.
It's better than nothing at the moment. We're searching for a painting that has a connection to the Battle of Trafalgar.
Depicting what exactly?
According to this poem, it could be...
Yes, Mr. Holmes?
It might refer to a boat. Its master was Admiral Nelson, and the thief wanted to run it aground. Moreover, the boat would have a French name.
Wait, I have a suggestion. A very popular painting, symbolic even, the Fighting Temeraire, a Turner. In this painting, Turner is described as having mastered painting techniques, and it is one of the most beautiful English paintings of all time. The subject, a boat by the French name of Temeraire, was involved in the Battle of Trafalgar and distinguished itself by protecting Victory, the flagship on board which was...
Victory, did you say?
Yes, Admiral Nelson was on board. Temeraire received a special distinction, but I am not certain of which. The painting shows it being towed to the breaker's yard, I believe.
Where would I find it?
I don't know. You would have to search through the English works of this century near the west section of the gallery.
My thanks, Palinor. Come, Watson, let's take a look at the painting. Here's what I've been looking for. The Fighting Temeraire. Splendid. What do you think?
I agree, it's splendid.
The existence of this painting would seem to give credit to this whole affair.
As long as this painting remains on this wall, this letter, even if it is eloquent and provocative, is nothing more than a letter. It is possible that all of this could be a hoax with no substance whatsoever. We will know soon enough, as the theft will have to take place tonight.
We must warn the museum's director, Holmes.
You are correct, Watson. Shall we?
Fantastic! Superb!
There, Maestro. I believe that everything is settled.
This collaboration will be my crowning glory, my masterpiece. Merci!
I have finished the inventory of the works of art, Director. Oh, and I have the pleasure of introducing the great detective Sherlock Holmes and his companion, Dr. Watson.
Good day, gentlemen. It's with pleasure that I welcome you to our gallery. I trust that you are here for pleasure and not business?
I'm afraid that is not the case.
Oh,
When it is no longer a matter of art, the artist must make his excuses. Messieurs, until we meet again, no need to accompany me. I know the way.
my apologies, gentlemen. Have you been waiting long?
Mr. Palinor was able to answer all of our most urgent questions. Tell me, who was that man who just left?
That was Horace Velmont, a French painter. One of the best, seemingly. His letters of recommendation come from some of the grandest salons in Paris.
A Frenchman? Let's take a look, Watson.
Yes, he's very avant-garde. He heard that we were showing the works of modern painters during our temporary exhibitions. He has loaned us a number of paintings and has promised to donate those that have the greatest success to the museum.
Lestrade, just in time. And the Frenchman, Watson?
Gone?
Director, this is Inspector Lestrade from Scotland Yard. Lestrade, this is the Director of the National Gallery, Sir Pointer, and his assistant, Mr. Palinor. Lestrade, would you have your constable on duty guard the entrance and make sure that nobody comes into the museum? Director, is there anything else?
No, but...
If you would care to follow me, I'll show you what the motivation behind all of this is. The reason for this little gathering is this letter that I received at my lodgings this morning. Without getting into too much detail, it claims that this painting, The Fighting Temeraire, will be stolen tonight.
Pardon?
There now. It's because of a letter that you've disturbed me. You believe that?
I would never have taken the liberty to disturb you if this letter, the authenticity of which I must admit hasn't been completely confirmed, was not written by the one and only Arsène Lupin.
Arsène Lupin?
Arsene Lupin?
Arsenal? Who? Lou? What?
Arsène Lupin, the most wanted cat burglar in the world. We will know soon enough whether or not this letter is a fake, or if I had reason to disturb you, Lestrade. But you must understand that we couldn't take even the slightest chance.
Perhaps. Why not simply put this thing under lock and key in the bank or at Scotland Yard?
We cannot risk storing the painting in an improper environment or to entrust it to anyone who calls it a thing.
All that would achieve would be to shift the problem. This painting is priceless. Beware he who would harm it. What I propose, Lestrade, is to do a tour of the museum with Sir Pointer in order to check any possible points of break and entry, and leave 2 men on duty here tonight. In addition, Director, you must close the museum to the public and not let anyone else in.
If you feel it's necessary.
And you, Holmes?
I'll pass by tomorrow at dawn. We'll know then what we're up against. Should the unthinkable have occurred, I insist that nothing is touched until I arrive. Is that clear? Let's be off, Watson.
Listen, Inspector, I have a lot of work to take care of. It would be better if I leave you to do a tour by yourself. You are, after all, a professional. Here are the keys to all of the locked doors. If you need me, I'll be in my office.
Well, I best inspect the museum to find any of Lupin's possible exits, including mice holes.
We need a cannon to force this door down. The lock is too big to be jimmied, and I'll leave a man on duty in place. If Lupin does come, it won't be that way. Nothing to report. No exits on this side. Nothing to report. It's dark in this box room. Good. No windows, no possible entry. Ha-ha! There is a possible entry. If someone wanted to descend from the roof here, he'd need a lot of time, and it wouldn't be a quiet business. But I'd be wise to leave a man on duty here, and he will signal the alarm at any suspicious movement coming from the roof. Arsène Lupin. It's you and I now. No exits on this side. Nothing to report. No exits on this side. No exits on this side. Nothing to report. No exits on this side. I will make sure there are no windows, and therefore ways in. Here.
Do your work. I will draw a map for you, Inspector.
Wait for tonight. There. The director and his underling have left. Time for us to play now. It could be that this whole robbery is nothing but nonsense. If not, we're prepared. And this Lupin will play right into our hands. I'll lock the main door to the museum, and you will be locked in. Jeffries is on duty in Trafalgar Square, and the yard is nearby. Nothing to worry about there. The doors leading in will be locked, but you will each have everything you need to open them. Stay hidden and cover your light so you cannot be seen from the roof. You, Lockhart, will be stationed near the painting itself. At the least provocation, go down to the entrance and sound the alarm. The walls are too thick, so you will have to go down for your whistle to be heard. In case of real trouble, be sure to fire with deadly accuracy, because if you even graze one of the paintings, your great-grandchildren will still be paying off your debts. Finally, you'll just have to be content with your lanterns. Gas is too expensive. Let's go, men. Keep your wits about you. You'll be relieved at 4 a.m.
Go on, you cantankerous codger. You have work to do.
You're right, Holmes. The constable below was indeed asked to deliver us a letter. It's from Lestrade.
Nothing good can come from such urgency.
Indeed, Holmes. This time, without doubt, the painting has disappeared. According to what he's written, they've turned the National Gallery upside down looking for it. Our presence is required immediately.
Well, Watson, the game is afoot.
Should we not have enlisted more men from the force to protect the painting?
I think that a whole brigade could not have stopped Lupin. And, of course, we can now be certain that it was he who was behind the theft. First and foremost, the police have a city and lives to protect, and we must respect that. Watson, a hansom will be hard to find at this hour, and Billy, our page, is sick. Would you be so good as to flag one down while I take a moment to reread this letter?
Yesterday, I was a doctor, and now I've become a valet.
Got a light?
No, sorry.
Is it Sherlock Holmes who lives in these digs here?
Indeed.
Know him?
I do have that honour. I have been of some assistance to him on occasion. Like locating hansoms, for instance.
I say, you're his valet. So tell me, does your master pay well then?
But
I bet you're not above winning a bob or two, am I right? Listen, my friend, word has it that your boss is going to have a right fright tonight at the Picture Museum.
How?
Shh, listen, my good man. If you want to fill your pockets, here's my card. Piers Urquhart Allen, that's my name. Independent reporter's the game. Spill the beans about his biz, and I'll pay you well. Look for me in one of the pubs round here. You can't miss me.
If Holmes finds out that the press is onto this business, he'll be in an explosive mood. Best to avoid speaking about it. Ah, a hansom. Now to find Holmes and make our way to the National Gallery.
You've arrived at last, Holmes. We haven't touched anything while we were waiting, except for a ladder which we needed to climb onto the roof. You must have received my message. The painting was stolen.
Did your men see anything?
To tell you the truth, barely anything. There was nothing they could do. The only thing we know for certain is there were two people of athletic build who perpetrated this crime. We don't know if the burglars stole anything other than the painting in question, as they completely redecorated the museum with the paintings of a French artist that were at the entrance to the museum. The paintings that were on the walls are now crammed in the director's office.
Do you have any idea what happened?
Well, not really. I haven't managed to figure it out. We know that the two men exited through the window in the restoration workshop, and that the second man entered through there. But the first man was already in the museum before his accomplice. Yet I had a man in the restoration workshop all yesterday afternoon, and he only left for a minute in order to hear my orders. At no time could the first man have entered through the window. We would have either seen or heard him. The men on the premises confirm they didn't see anyone pass through the entrance until the alarm was sounded. And those two are the only possibilities. How did this man get into the museum, I ask you?
When you have eliminated the impossible, Lestrade, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Where are the director and his assistant?
They're both in the office. Go gently with the director. He's close to having a fit. By the way, I noticed some traces of paint or something all over. I've asked everyone to avoid trampling on them until you've had a chance to examine them.
You're making wonderful progress, Lestrade.
Well, I'll go question the neighbors to see if anyone might have seen a 17th century boat descend from the roof.
Watson, accompany Inspector Lestrade. Check out the roof and help out with the interrogations. Be on the lookout, for the slightest detail could gain us some precious time.
You can count on me, Holmes.
It's a combination lock, a French brand. It looks extremely solid, impossible to open it without knowing the combination. The paint tracks come from the interior of the museum and stop there. It's curious, but I'd wager that the man who left these footprints rested here a moment while facing the wall and looking at something. Yet these paintings aren't exceptional in the least. Footprints, look! This footprint is quite clear, like a footstep pressed. This footprint is rather light. The man who left these footprints made a return trip. He was carrying something heavy when he climbed the stairs. Paintings, certainly. Size 10. The person who left these footprints stepped into the paint with his whole foot. Size 10. Size 10. These footprints are those of common work boots. It's through there that one of our robbers arrived. And it's also through there that they must have escaped with the help of a ladder. Footprints, look! The foot brushed the paint. The foot brushed the paint. Someone wanted to warn the person who made the footprints of the presence of liquid on the ground, but too late. The man then went beneath the louver of the window to get out, probably with the help of a ladder. He was wearing shoes from France with supple leather non-skid soles which have a distinctive design. These footprints are size 9. It was through the skylights that one of the two robbers came in. Ideal to catch by jumping from this skylight. Water. These tools are for restoring paintings. A large red square was painted on the floor, most likely by Lupin, but to what end? The Supper at Emmaus, where the resurrected Jesus appears to his disciples, painted by Caravaggio, 1571-1610. He was a master of chiaroscuro, and the Caravaggism movement was named after him. What horrors! Saint Catherine of Alexandria, by Antonio de Salario in 1514, originally part of a triptych. Closed. This painting depicts the gods Venus and Mars by Botticelli. This painting was exhibited for the first time in 1874 in the National Gallery. Looking at this canvas, the French painter must have drawn his inspiration from the famous French cheese Camembert. They both stink. A study by Tiepolo. The Trojans bring the Greek horse into their city, causing their own ruin. Thus it's best to beware of certain gifts. Portrait of a young man in red by Domenico Ghirlandaio. This painting was executed between 1480 and 90 and is on loan. What horrors! A painting by Veronese, the family of Darius before Alexander. A perfect example of neo-cretinism, a Valmont from his convalescent period. Saint Catherine of Alexandria, painted by Carlo Crivelli, bought as part of the Prince Anatole Demidov collection in 1868. The artist of this painting wished to depict the total rejection of aestheticism, and he succeeded. Adoration of the Kings by Botticelli, bought by the National Gallery in 1878. Valmont has unusual taste for a painter. Ah, Venice, La Serenissima. This one from 1740 by Canaletto. The artist of this painting wished to depict the total rejection of aestheticism, and he succeeded. Peace and War, Rubens, the Old Master, painting probably executed in 1629 or 30, illustrating the hopes for peace between England and Spain, the painter's mission at the time. Rubens was, in effect, also a diplomat. It's Pointer, the museum director, who is on display here. Amusing. Valmont has unusual taste for a painter. A work by David Teniers, the Younger. Valmont has unusual taste for a painter. Lady Elizabeth Thimbleby and Viscountess Andover by Van Dyck. The artist of this painting wished to depict the total rejection of aestheticism, and he succeeded. What horrors! Look, a white horse standing by a sleeping man by Peter Verbeek, possibly derived from a 1652 print by Paulus Potter. A family group by Gonzales Cox. A perfect example of neo-cretinism, a Valmont from his convalescent period. Looking at this canvas, the French painter must have drawn his inspiration from the famous French cheese Camembert. They both stink. Portrait of a Man, canvas loaned to the museum, work of an unknown artist, dating between 1645 and 1655. The Countryside, painted by Salomon van Rushdael. Born in the first few years of the 17th century, died 1670. It makes you want to rest for a moment. A winter scene with skaters near a castle by Averkamp, 1585 to 1634, one of the greatest painters from the Dutch school of the 17th century. He specialized in winter scenes. The painting originally extended into a square shape. A work by Jan Steen, painter of the Dutch school, a moralist. A perfect example of neo-cretinism, a Valmont from his convalescent period. A perfect example of neo-cretinism. What horrors! A painting by Rembrandt, the sum of his works inspired Baudelaire to write Rembrandt's Sad Hospital Full of Murmurs. Self-portrait at the age of 63 by Rembrandt, the year of his death. The painter affirmed, "I do not paint the man, I paint the passage." An architectural fantasy painted by van der Heyden. A river scene with a Dutch yacht by Van der Capelle. A coast scene, Jan van der Capelle, Amsterdam 1626 to 1679. Valmont has unusual taste for a painter. Looking at this canvas, the French painter must have drawn his inspiration from the famous French cheese Camembert. They both stink. A perfect example of neo-cretinism. Hideous, this painting. A round red frame with some green in the middle. The inspiration behind this canvas is rather queer. What horrors! Valmont has unusual taste for a painter. The artist of this painting wished to depict the total rejection of aestheticism, and he succeeded. What horrors! Velmont has unusual taste for a painter. The artist of this painting wished to depict the total rejection of aestheticism, and he succeeded. Thomas Gainsborough, one of the most famous English portrait and landscape painters. Velmont has unusual taste for a painter. A perfect example of neo-cretinism, a Velmont from his convalescent period. The artist of this painting wished to depict the total rejection of aestheticism, and he succeeded. Mr. and Mrs. Andrews by Gainsborough, an unfinished painting. An unrivaled landscape artist, he was obliged to do portraits in order to earn a living. Jacques Cazot, portrait by Jean-Baptiste Perronneau, born around 1715, died 1783. Looking at this canvas, the French painter must have drawn his inspiration from the famous French cheese Camembert. A canvas by Nicolas Poussin that tells of the discovery of Moses. Very nice. Closed. The Scale of Love by Jean-Antoine Watteau. Born in 1684, died in 1721, French painter, one of the first in the Rococo style, inspired by the Commedia dell'arte, who loved to depict theatre and festivities in his paintings. Perfect Harmony by Jean-Antoine Watteau. Self-Portrait by Horace Velmont. A bit narcissistic, that one. Looking at this canvas, the French painter must have drawn his inspiration from the famous French cheese Camembert. What horrors! The artist of this painting wished to depict the total rejection of aestheticism, and he succeeded. A Beautiful Landscape by Boucher, Françoise, a master of colour in the Age of Enlightenment. A perfect example of neo-cretinism, a Velmont from his convalescent period. Monsieur de Norvin's portrait by Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres, 1780 to 1876. A portrait, Madame Moitessier, by Ingres, who was also a violinist on the side, like myself. The Triumph of Pan by Nicolas Poussin. A canvas by Joseph Vernet, my great-great-uncle. Why, these two paintings appear identical. Portrait of a Woman by Perronneau, French school, pastel on paper. What horrors! A perfect example of neo-cretinism. Christ driving the traders from the temple, canvassed by the Spanish master El Greco. Velmont has unusual taste for a painter. Jacob with a Flock of Laban by Giuseppe de Ribera, also called Lo Spagnoletto, or the Little Spaniard because of his height. The Vendramin family, venerating a relic of the True Cross by Titian, a Venetian paper, died in 1576, leader of the 16th century Venetian school of the Cinquecento. La Tela Real by the great Spanish master Diego Velázquez, 1599 to 1660, painted from the golden century of Spain. It depicts a royal boar hunt. A perfect example of neo-cretinism. Looking at this canvas, the French painter must have drawn his inspiration from the famous French cheese Camembert. The artist of this painting wished to depict the total rejection of aestheticism. What horrors! Velmont has unusual taste for a painter. There is something here. A trace of black rubber. 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 These 4 traces of black rubber are identical and form a square. There is something strange on the ceiling. I'll have to climb up to examine it, but Lestrade's men are using the ladder. I'll continue to inspect the museum while I await them. Hans Holbein the Younger died of the plague in London in 1543. His works are on loan to the museum. Looking at this canvas, the French painter must have drawn his inspiration from the famous French cheese Camembert. The artist of this painting wished to depict the total rejection of aestheticism, and he succeeded. Tobias and the Archangel Raphael by Adam Elsheimer, German painter. The Archangel should ask what kind of bait he used. This canvas was acquired in 1894 by the National Gallery. It was based on the composition he had previously done. Ooh, Judith in the Tent of Holofernes by Johann Liss, 1595 to 1631. What will she do with that head? A perfect example of neo-cretinism. The Ambassadors, 1533 by Hans Holbein the Younger. In the foreground, we can see a distorted skull, a symbol of mortality. Looking at this canvas, the French painter must have drawn his inspiration from the famous French cheese Camembert. Charity by Lucan Cranach the Elder, canvas loaned to the museum. Portrait of a Woman by Lucas Cranach the Elder, 1472 to 1553, official painter of the Saxony court. Velmont has unusual taste for a painter. A Cranach. What horrors! Footprints, look! These footprints are size 9. These footprints are size 9. These are shoes with supple, non-skid leather soles of French manufacture with a distinctive design. These are, without doubt, the shoes of the French painter Horace Velmont. The footprints left by Horace Velmont's shoes and those made by one of the two crooks are absolutely identical. Lupin is a master of disguise. We met him in person yesterday as Velmont.
Ah, Mr. Holmes, such a tragedy. Have you seen what these crooks have done to my museum? Paintings of incalculable value thrown in a heap like hay in a haystack. And the Fighting Temeraire.
Now, calm down, Director. Do you know if they took anything other than this painting?
The director and I are in the middle of doing an inventory of all the paintings that were moved. We are not certain yet.
The only one who will be happy is Velmont. His paintings now have the best spots.
I'd wager he's doubly happy, but he'd never come to show his gratitude in person.
Ah, and when will you be done with your investigation, so that we can put the paintings back in their original places?
A deadline will soon be set, I think. However, it is in our best interest to do it as quickly as possible. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good. We'll be here if you have any further questions. Come, Palinor, back to the inventory.
Mr. Holmes, Inspector Lestrade wanted you to know that we no longer need the ladder. If you want it, it's near the director's office.
Elementary. This poem by Lupin surely makes reference to 4 paintings presently hanging in the museum. Shall we begin our search? Here's what I've been looking for. A winter scene with skaters near a castle by Averkamp, 1585 to 1634, one of the greatest painters from the Dutch school of the 17th century. He specialized in winter scenes. The painting originally extended into a square shape. Here's what I've been looking for. This painting depicts the gods Venus and Mars by Botticelli. This painting was exhibited for the first time in 1874 in the National Gallery. Here's what I've been looking for. Look, a white horse standing by a sleeping man by Peter Verbeek, possibly derived from a 1652 print by Paulus Potter. Here's what I've been looking for. Tobias and the Archangel Raphael by Adam Elsheimer, German painter. The Archangel should ask what kind of bait he used. This canvas was acquired in 1894 by the National Gallery. It was based on a composition he had previously done. It seems that I have found the 4 numbers from Lupin's poem. Now, what do I do with them? Open. A wig and a cushion, for the stomach no doubt. There is also Velmont's cap and clothing. A half-empty bottle of champagne, to pass the time no doubt. This is what must have happened. Lupin entered the museum disguised as Velmont. After our meeting he pretended to leave, but in fact came to hide in the case that Palinor had emptied whilst doing his inventory. A hook permitted him to close the case from the inside, and he calmly waited until the time was right. Once alone, he got out and helped his accomplice enter through the skylight without fearing the police. It's the painting by my great-uncle. Look, there's a paper attached. Self-portrait by Horace Velmont. A bit narcissistic, that one. This painting has an oil base, but is covered in a fine coat of water paint. I should ask the director how to remove it. This painting has an oil base.
What do you want, Mr. Holmes?
Sorry to disturb you, gentlemen. Can you explain how to remove a fine layer of water paint that is covering an oil painting? Rest assured, it does not concern a piece from the museum's collection.
It's simple. You'll need some water to soften the paint, a paintbrush with rigid bristles to scrape off the film, and an absorbent sponge to take it all off.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good. We'll be here if you have any further questions. Come, Palinor, back to the inventory.
Water. You and I, Lupin. I need something. I need something. I need something. There is a bright red C written on this calling card in addition to a poem. This letter must be the beginning of a word or phrase. Now to find the others. There must be something here. Stay alert now. A piece of the frame is breaking off. What horrors! Elementary. It's too dark in here. I don't see anything. I'm in need of a lamp. Can I borrow this lamp?
Yes, we are almost finished. Isn't that right, Palinor?
This bucket contains something extremely heavy. I can't move it. A bucket with a red perimeter. Not bad. There is something here. It's Sir Pointer, the museum director, who is on display here. Amusing. Here's what I've been looking for. Why, these two paintings appear identical. Haha, Lupin seems to be setting the example. I'm in need of a lamp. I will recopy all of that to better study it. This must be one of the 9 canvases. They're hanging art made by 3-year-olds. We could probably do without. They're hanging art made by 3-year-olds. We could probably do without. They're hanging art made by 3-year-olds. We could probably do without. They're hanging art made by 3-year-olds. We could probably do without. They're hanging art made by 3-year-olds. We could probably do without. They're hanging art made by 3-year-olds. We could probably do without. They're hanging art made by 3-year-olds. We could probably do without. They're hanging art made by 3-year-olds. We could probably do without. They're hanging art made by 3-year-olds. We could probably do without. I have all 9 paintings now, I think. Think. No message proposes another riddle. I must have found all of the clues. However, I haven't made any progress. Perhaps the director might know more.
So, Mr. Holmes, the day is drawing to a close. Can I finally reclaim my museum?
Tell me, Director, does this word mean anything to you?
Coronis? Yes, we have a painting entitled Apollo Slaying Coronis. It's an old painting. Let me show you. Palinor?
Here it is.
This painting is rather simple and doesn't seem to be hiding anything special. Can you tell me the history of this piece?
It was created in approximately 1617 by Domenichino and his assistants. It doesn't belong to us, but is on loan temporarily by its owner. It represents the god Apollo using an arrow to slay his lover, Coronis, because of her infidelity.
That's all?
Yes, that's all.
Well, Holmes, where are we? It's dark outside. I can't keep going any longer. Not one witness within a half-mile in any direction. It would seem the men disappeared like ghosts.
What is the note that you're holding?
Oh, yes, a constable asked me to bring it to your attention. It could be from Lestrade, as we were separated over an hour ago. Incredible. Lestrade has also started using poetry.
This note didn't come from Lestrade, Watson. It's Lupin who sent it. Mr. Pointer, what could he mean by a black shadow and not in the painting?
Yes. In the legend, it's Apollo's bird, a raven, who reveals Coronis's infidelity to him. Thus, the raven, who is at the heart of the matter, is curiously absent from the painting.
Anyway, our latest message from Lupin states, tonight, 6 more missing. Do you have the map of London with you, Watson? Get it for me if you would. Yes, Watson, the Tower of London Ravens. If ever the Ravens leave the Tower of London, the British Empire will fall. Lupin wants to capture them. Watson, there isn't a moment to lose. Find a hansom while I leave some instructions for the director.